A car sits empty on the edge of a shadow-draped forest, engine cold, keys dangling in the ignition. A phone lies silent on the passenger seat. And somewhere in the void between I'll be home soon and gone forever, a 24-year-old nurse named Hannah Collins evaporates into thin air. No scream, no struggle, just a chilling trail of questions that lead nowhere. Was it a predator, a secret, or something far darker hiding in the pines? Tonight, we step into the void Hannah left behind and confront the silence that swallowed her whole. What if I told you that a single text message was the last trace of a young woman's existence? A message so ordinary, so unremarkable. Running late, see you soon. That no one could have guessed it would become the final thread in a mystery that still chills a community to its core. Hannah Collins, a 24-year-old nurse who spent her days stitching wounds and her nights sketching starry skies. A daughter who called her mom every Sunday without fail. A friend who laughed louder than anyone in the room. But on October 12th, 2018, Hannah didn't just vanish, she dissolved. No shattered glass, no torn clothing, no fingerprints, just her car, parked neatly at the edge of Holloway Forest, as if the earth itself had opened up and swallowed her whole. For 5 years, her case has festered like a wound. Detectives have chased shadows. Her family has pleaded for answers. And the theories? They've spiraled, from the paranoid to the unspeakable. Was it a predator lurking in the trees? A secret lover? Or a crime so calculated, so flawless, that it left no trace? Tonight, we retrace Hannah's last steps, dissect the lies, and confront the haunting question that still echoes through those dark, endless woods. Where is she? Hannah Collins wasn't just a name on a missing person poster. She was the kind of person who lit up a room, not with grand gestures, but with quiet, unwavering warmth. By day, she worked the pediatric ward at Mercy General Hospital, calming frightened children with her easy smile and the doodles she'd slip into their get-well cards. By night, she'd lose herself in sketchbooks filled with mountains she'd never climbed and oceans she'd never seen. Her co-workers called her the glue, the one who remembered birthdays, brought coffee on rough shifts, and stayed late without complaint. But on October 12th, 2018, the glue that held so much together snapped. It was a Thursday. Hannah clocked out at 8:15 p.m., waved goodbye to a colleague, and climbed into her blue Honda Civic, the same car her father had helped her buy 2 years earlier. At 8:23 p.m., she sent a text to her roommate, Jess. Running late, see you soon. 6 words. No typos. No urgency. Just normalcy. But Hannah never pulled into the driveway. By midnight, Jess reported her missing. By dawn, police found her car parked neatly on a gravel pull-off near Holloway Forest, a sprawling wilderness known for its jagged trails and patches of dead zones where cell signals die. The driver's seat was adjusted to her height. Her purse sat on the passenger seat, wallet inside. Keys hung in the ignition, as if she'd stepped out for a breath of air and never returned. But here's what wasn't there: any sign of Hannah. No blood, no torn fabric, no mud on the floor mats. Even the rain that fell that night left no usable footprints. It was as if the world's most meticulous ghost had plucked her from existence. The police called it perplexing. Her family called it a nightmare. And Holloway Forest? It kept its secrets, whispering only one thing. Hannah Collins was here until she wasn't. Let's rewind. Let's go back to the final hours when Hannah Collins was still Hannah, alive, breathing, texting, laughing. When the world still made sense. It was 8:15 p.m. on October 12th, 2018. Hannah clocked out of her shift at Mercy General Hospital, just like she'd done 100 times before. Security cameras show her walking through the parking lot alone, her sneakers splashing in puddles left by that evening's drizzle. She's wearing her favorite gray hoodie, the one with the chipped coffee stain on the sleeve. Her keys jingle in her hand. She climbs into her blue Honda Civic, adjusts the rearview mirror, a habit her dad taught her, and pulls out of the lot. At 8:30 p.m., she merges onto Route 22. This is her usual route home, a 25-minute drive. But tonight, nothing about this drive would be usual. 15 minutes later, at 8:45 p.m., Hannah stops at a gas station off exit 17, a 24-hour pit stop called Quick Fill. Surveillance footage shows her parking at Pump 3. She swipes her card, fills her tank, and walks inside. The cashier, a college student named Derek, remembers her buying a pack of peppermint gum and a bottle of water. He'd later tell police she joked about the rain, saying, "At least my plants at home are happy." She paid in cash, left a $2 tip in the jar, walked out, Nothing about this stop seemed strange. No shaky hands, no nervous glances, just Hannah being Hannah. But here's where the story fractures. At 9:02 p.m., Hannah's phone sends its final ping to a cell tower. Not near her apartment, not along her usual route, but 12 miles deep into Holloway Forest. A remote, densely wooded area with no homes, no businesses, just crumbling logging roads and patches of swamp. To get there, Hannah would have had to turn off Route 22 onto a narrow, unmarked dirt road, a detour that makes zero sense. So why was her phone there? Let's break it down. Option 1, she drove there herself. Maybe she took a wrong turn. But Hannah knew these roads. She'd lived in the area for years. Plus, her car's GPS showed no active route that night. No search history for Holloway Forest. No texts about meeting someone. Option 2, she was following someone. A friend in trouble? A last-minute errand? But her call logs show no outgoing calls after 8:30 p.m. Her texts, just that final message to Jess. Running late, see you soon. Option 3, someone else was driving her car. This is where the dread creeps in. If Hannah didn't take that detour, who did? And where was she during that 12-mile drive? Let's talk timeline. From the gas station to the cell tower in Holloway Forest is a 20-minute drive. That means Hannah, or whoever had her phone, arrived in the forest by roughly 8:55 p.m. But her car wasn't found until the next morning, parked near a trailhead 5 miles from that cell tower. So between 8:55 p.m. and 6 a.m., her car moved again. Or someone moved it. But wait, there's no security footage of her car on the roads leading into the forest. No witnesses reported seeing her Honda Civic. Just the silent, stubborn fact of that phone ping. And then there's the rain. It poured that night. A cold, relentless downpour that would have washed away tire tracks, footprints, any trace of struggle. By morning, the gravel pull-off where her car was found looked pristine, as if it had been staged. Police interviewed every local who'd been in the forest that week, hikers, hunters, even a few campers. One man, a trucker named Roy, claimed he saw a woman matching Hannah's description at a rest stop 30 miles north of Holloway Forest around 10 p.m. She was arguing with someone in a black SUV, he said. Couldn't see their face. But Roy's story fell apart under scrutiny. He had a history of DUIs and couldn't pinpoint the exact date. Another dead end. But let's circle back to Hannah's phone. Forensic analysts pulled her records. The last activity wasn't a call or a text. It was a failed attempt to load a map at 9:04 p.m. The signal died immediately after. No more pings, no voicemails, just silence. So here's what we're left with: a woman who vanished during a routine drive home, a car that appeared 12 hours later, clean and untouched, a phone that died in the middle of nowhere, and a forest that refuses to talk. Was Hannah lured into those woods? Was her car dumped there to throw off investigators? Or did something far stranger happen? Something no one's dared to say out loud? The truth is, every theory collapses under its own weight. The evidence is too thin. The contradictions are too thick. But maybe, just maybe, the answer lies in the gaps. In the questions we haven't thought to ask. Like, why did Hannah's Spotify account play a playlist called Night Drive at 8:47 p.m. after she left the gas station, if her phone was already heading into a dead zone? Or, why did her car's odometer show 17 extra miles than the distance from the hospital to her apartment? Small details, glitches in the story. But in a case with no witnesses, no DNA, and no motive, glitches might be all we have. When someone vanishes without a trace, theories bloom like weeds. Some rooted in fact, others in fear. And in Hannah Collins' case, those theories exploded like wildfire, burning through logic, evidence, and sometimes the truth. Let's start with the obvious: stranger danger. A random predator. Someone lurking in the shadows of Holloway Forest, waiting for a lone woman. It's the nightmare we've all been warned about. But here's the problem. Hannah's car was found unlocked, her purse untouched. If this was a crime of opportunity, why leave cash and valuables behind? Why no signs of a struggle? Unless the perpetrator wanted it to look peaceful. Then there's the stalker theory. Hannah's friends mentioned she'd felt watched in the weeks before her disappearance. She'd double-check locks, avoid walking alone at night, even switch up her route home. But when police dug into her life, they found no stalker. No threatening letters. No creepy coworkers. Except the online angle. 3 weeks before she vanished, Hannah received a series of cryptic DMs on Instagram from an account named at eyes_open_912. The messages were brief, unnerving. Do you ever feel like someone's watching? You should check your rear view. Trust no one. Hannah brushed it off as a troll, blocked the account. But when police traced at eyes_open_912, they hit a wall. The account was created using a VPN, deleted hours after her disappearance. No recovery, no clues, just a digital ghost. But the most explosive theories? They revolved around someone closer to home. Let's talk about Mark, Hannah's boyfriend of 2 years. By all accounts, their relationship was complicated. Friends say they fought often about money, trust, his jealousy. The night Hannah vanished, Mark claimed he was at a buddy's house playing video games. 2 friends backed his alibi, he was here most of the night, one said, but he left around 9 p.m. to grab snacks. Gone maybe 20 minutes. 20 minutes. Enough time to drive to Holloway Forest? Maybe. But here's the kicker. Mark's phone records show he called Hannah 3 times between 8:30 p.m. and 9 p.m. All went to voicemail. He texted her at 9:15 p.m. You okay? Does that sound like a guilty man? Or a worried boyfriend? The police didn't have enough to charge him. No history of violence. No physical evidence linking him to her car or the forest. But rumors festered. Online sleuths dissected his social media. A photo he posted a week after Hannah vanished, smiling at a bar. How could he move on so fast? Commenters raged. But grief isn't a performance. And without proof, Mark remained a suspect and a victim. Then there's the family angle. Hannah's older brother, Ethan, had a rap sheet, DUI bar fights. Some whispered he owed money to the wrong people. But Hannah's mother, Linda, swore Ethan was with her that night, watching the Office reruns. A solid alibi, if true. But the theories didn't stop there. Some claimed Hannah staged her own disappearance, that she was overwhelmed, in debt, or wanted a fresh start. But her bank accounts were never touched. Her passport sat in a drawer. Her beloved dog, Milo, was left whimpering at home. Hannah wouldn't abandon Milo. Others whispered about human trafficking. But trafficking victims are rarely taken from isolated forests in the middle of the night. They're targeted through manipulation, coercion, not snatched from cars without a trace. And then the wild cards. A retired detective floated the idea of a cop cover-up, citing the lack of security footage from the forest's entrance. Conspiracy forums lit up with tales of cult activity in Holloway Forest, though police found zero evidence of rituals or gatherings. Even paranormal explanations crept in, stories of shadow figures, UFO sightings, portals to another dimension. Nonsense? Maybe. But when facts run out, fiction rushes in. Amid the noise, one tip stood out. A woman named Clara phoned the hotline, claiming she'd seen Hannah at a roadside diner 3 days after she disappeared. She was with a man in a baseball cap, Clara said. She looked scared. Detectives rushed to the diner. They reviewed security tapes, checked receipts. Nothing. Clara later admitted she'd mixed up the dates. Another dead end. But let's circle back to the biggest red flag, the burner account. At eyes_open_912. Who was behind it? A stranger? Someone Hannah knew? The messages were too specific, too personal. Trust no one. Was that a warning or a threat? Police traced the VPN used to create the account to a server in Sweden, a dead end. Digital footprints wiped clean. Even the username, eyes_open_912, meant nothing. 912? A date? September 12th? An area code? A code for I love you in some cipher? Overthinking? Probably. But in the absence of answers, even numbers become clues. Then there's the timeline. If Hannah was meeting someone that night, why no record of it? No texts, no emails. Unless they communicated in person, or used an app like Snapchat, where messages vanish. Hannah wasn't active on Snapchat. But what if someone else was? Here's what we know. Theories are easy. Proof is hard. For every what if, there's a but how. For every suspect, there's an alibi. For every red flag, there's a rational explanation. But here's what we don't know. Why did Hannah's Instagram story from that morning, a photo of her coffee cup with the caption, "Last shift before vacation," get deleted at 10:04 p.m. after her phone died? Was it a glitch? Or did someone else have her password? Why did Mark suddenly move to another state 6 months after Hannah vanished? Guilt? Grief? Or something else? And why, 5 years later, does Holloway Forest still feel wrong? Like the trees themselves are keeping secrets? The truth is, theories don't solve cases. Evidence does. And in Hannah's case, the evidence is a void, a blank space where answers should be. But maybe, just maybe, that void is the answer. A reminder that some mysteries refuse to unravel. That sometimes the only thing louder than the truth is silence. Imagine pouring every resource, every tool, every ounce of hope into finding someone and finding nothing. No threads, no breadcrumbs, just walls. That's what happened in the hunt for Hannah Collins. Let's start with the search. Within 48 hours of her disappearance, Holloway Forest was swarming with police, volunteers, and specialists. Search dogs sniffed every trail. Drones scanned the treetops. Dive teams plunged into Lake Merritt, a murky body of water just south of the forest, dragging its depths for clues. They found soda cans, a rusted bike, a wedding ring from the 1980s. But Hannah? Not a hair, not a shoe, not a whisper. Detectives turned to her car next, a gold mine for evidence, right? Wrong. They scrubbed that Honda Civic for prints, fibers, DNA. Nothing. The steering wheel? Wiped clean. The seats? Vacuumed spotless. Even the gum wrapper in the cup holder had no saliva, no smudges. It was like the car had been sanitized. But Hannah wasn't a germaphobe. She ate fries over the steering wheel. She let friends borrow her car. So who or what made sure that vehicle told no secrets? Then there's the road itself. Hannah's route from the gas station to Holloway Forest should have been littered with cameras, traffic lights, storefronts, toll booths. But this was rural Pennsylvania. Outdated infrastructure. Broken cameras. Gaps in coverage. The only footage they recovered was a blurry gas station tape and a traffic cam that caught her Honda speeding past at 8:37 p.m. After that, a void. But the biggest enemy wasn't technology. It was the weather. It rained for 3 days straight after Hannah vanished. Not a drizzle, a monsoon. Roads flooded, rivers swelled, and every drop washed away potential evidence. Tire tracks? Gone. Footprints in the mud? Erased. Even the scent trails the dogs followed? Dissolved. Nature itself seemed to side with whoever took Hannah. Then a break. Or so they thought. 9 days into the investigation, an anonymous tip lit up the hotline. A raspy-voiced caller claimed to have seen Hannah at a truck stop off Interstate 80 to 200 miles from Holloway Forest, 3 days after she disappeared. She was wearing a red hoodie, the caller said. Looked scared. Got into a semi with Wyoming plates. Police raced to the truck stop. They reviewed security footage from the alleged date, scoured logbooks from drivers passing through, even tracked down every semi registered in Wyoming that used I-80 that week. Nothing. No red hoodie. No Hannah. The caller? Untraceable. A burner phone tossed in a ditch miles away. Another dead end. But here's what's stranger. Detectives wanted to believe the tip. They wanted a reason to hope she was alive. But without proof, it was just noise. So they dug deeper into Hannah's life. Bank records? No unusual withdrawals. Phone records? No unknown numbers. Social media? No red flags, except one. 2 months before she vanished, Hannah Googled, "How to disappear completely." A chilling search. But friends insist it wasn't literal. Hannah had been obsessed with a Radiohead song by that name. She joked about using it as her theme song during stressful shifts. Still, detectives couldn't ignore it. Was it a cry for help? A clue? Or just a coincidence? They'll never know. Then there's the witness who came forward a year later. A waitress named Gina from a diner 50 miles east of Holloway Forest. She swore Hannah ate pancakes there every Sunday for a month after she vanished. Same order every time, Gina said. Blueberry pancakes, black coffee. Always alone. Police grilled her. Pulled receipts. Checked surveillance. Not a single Sunday matched. No Hannah. No pancakes. Gina later admitted she'd dreamed the whole thing. But why? Attention? Guilt? Or a twisted attempt to keep the case alive? The truth is, investigations rely on facts. And in Hannah's case, the facts dissolved like sugar in rain. Take the car's odometer. It showed 17 extra miles beyond her usual route. Where did those miles go? A joyride? A detour? Or multiple stops? Or the oil change sticker on her windshield? It was dated 2 days before she vanished. The mechanic said her car was fine, no issues. But what if someone tampered with it? Sliced a brake line? No evidence. Just paranoia. Even the anonymous letters sent to the police station, 3 in total, postmarked from different states, claimed Hannah was safe and wanted to be forgotten. The handwriting was analyzed. The paper was traced. Another dead end. So where does that leave us? With a car that's a ghost, a forest that's a vault, and an investigation that's a hall of mirrors. Every clue reflects a question. Every answer twists into a lie. But here's the cruelest blind spot of all time. 5 years later, memories fade. Witnesses die. Leads rot. Hannah's case isn't cold, it's frozen. And the people who loved her? They're trapped in that same icy limbo. Waiting. Wondering. Was Hannah failed by the investigation? Or was the investigation doomed from the start? We may never know. But in the quiet moments when the static fades, you can almost hear the truth screaming from the shadows. True crime stories love clues, theories, twists. But behind every headline is a family living in the shadow of a question mark. A mother who wakes up every morning hoping today is the day her daughter comes home. A father who still texts a phone that'll never ring back. A life interrupted, not by death, but by silence. This is the human cost of Hannah Collins' disappearance. Let's start with Linda, Hannah's mother. 5 years later, she still keeps her daughter's bedroom exactly as it was on October 12, 2018. A half-finished sketch of the Rocky Mountains sits on the desk. A sweater hangs over the chair, still holding the shape of Hannah's shoulders. The bed is neatly made, except for a dent in the pillow, where Linda sometimes lies down just to feel close. "I don't clean it," she admitted in a rare interview. "Dust collects. Sunlight fades the curtains. But if I move anything, it's like admitting she's really gone." Every Sunday, Linda drives to Holloway Forest. She doesn't search. She doesn't scream. She just sits in her car, staring at the trees. "I used to beg God to bring her back," she said. "Now I just beg him to tell me if she's alive." Then there's Jess, Hannah's roommate, the one who got that final text. "Running late, see you soon." Jess moved out of their apartment 6 months after Hannah vanished. She couldn't stand the sound of the front door creaking open at night, her heart leaping. Is it her? Only to see empty air. She still texts Hannah's number every birthday. "Happy 29th, hon. I ate your slice of cake." The messages never deliver. Hannah's friends describe her as the kind of person who'd triple-check the stove before leaving the house, who'd send a "got home safe" text after a date. She wasn't reckless, her coworker Maria said. She'd never go into those woods alone. Never. But that's the cruelty of this case. It defies everything Hannah was. A cautious woman who vanished carelessly. A planner who left no plan. And what about the others? The ones left behind to pick at their guilt? Mark, her boyfriend, deleted all his social media after threats from strangers. He moved to Oregon, changed his name, and works night shifts at a warehouse. "I loved her," he told a reporter once. But no one believes that anymore. Hannah's brother, Ethan, spends his weekends plastering missing posters on the same gas stations and park benches. The posters fade. The rain tears them down. He puts up new ones. But here's what no one talks about. Grief is heavy. And when a case goes cold, that weight crushes you. The first year, the town held vigils. Candlelight flickering in hundreds of hands. News vans parked on Main Street. Hashtags trending. By year 3, the vigils shrank to a dozen people. Then 5. Now it's just Linda and Ethan in the forest, whispering her name into the wind. "People forget," Linda said. "They have to. You can't walk around carrying someone else's pain forever." But I don't get that luxury. Even the online sleuths moved on. Hannah's Reddit threads grew stale. YouTube videos about her case dropped from 1 million views to 10,000. The world moved forward. Hannah didn't. But why? Why did her case fade when others go viral? Maybe because there's no villain, no shocking twist, no body, no crime scene. Just a girl who stepped out of her life like it was a room she'd never return to. Or maybe it's because Hannah was ordinary, not a celebrity, not a scandal, just a nurse who loved her dog and hated cilantro. The kind of person we pass by every day. The kind we forget. But Linda doesn't forget. She keeps Hannah's voicemail greeting active. "Hey, it's Hannah. Leave a message." Just to hear her voice. She memorized the sound of Hannah's laugh from old videos. She buys her favorite strawberry yogurt every week, letting it spoil in the fridge. And then there's Milo, Hannah's golden retriever. He waited by the door for months after she vanished, whimpered at her empty bed. Now he's old. His muzzle is gray. He still licks Linda's tears when she cries. This is the human cost, lives frozen in amber. Birthdays no one celebrates. A mother who can't bury her child. A father who died last year, his obituary reading, preceded in death by his daughter, Hannah, missing but never forgotten. But the cruelest cost? Hope. Hope is a poison when it has nowhere to go. It keeps Linda awake, wondering if Hannah is out there, scared, trapped, waiting. It makes her flinch at every phone ring, jump at every knock. Hope is the reason she can't sell Hannah's car, Can't empty her closet, can't let go. What if she comes back? Linda said. And I've erased her. So the room stays untouched. The posters stay up. The case stays open. Because the alternative, accepting that Hannah is gone, is a wound that won't close. But time doesn't stop. The world spins. And the longer Hannah stays missing, the quieter the questions get. Unless someone speaks. Unless a memory clicks. Unless a guilt-ridden conscience cracks. Until then, the human cost keeps rising. And the only thing louder than the silence is the sound of a family breaking. 5 years. 5 years of dead ends. 5 years of what if and why. And yet, Hannah Collins' disappearance isn't a cold case. It's a live wire. A maze of questions that only grow sharper with time. Let's start with the one that gnaws at every investigator, every armchair sleuth, every person who's ever glanced at Hannah's photo. Why did her phone die the moment it mattered most? At 9:04 p.m., Hannah's phone pinged a tower deep in Holloway Forest. By 9:05 p.m., it was offline. Forever. No gradual battery drain. No final texts. Just off. Was the phone destroyed? Tossed into a river? Or did someone power it down to vanish into the dark? Then there's the gas station. The one piece of the puzzle that seems solid. Security footage shows Hannah there at 8:45 p.m. She buys gum, makes small talk. But here's what keeps detectives up at night. What if the timeline is a lie? What if that footage was altered? The timestamp faked? A distraction to send investigators chasing the wrong clock? After all, the cashier's shift log shows he left at 8:30 p.m., 15 minutes before Hannah supposedly arrived. A clerical error? Or a clue? And what about the hiker? The one who claims he saw a shadowy figure near Hannah's car the morning it was found. He described a man in a dark hoodie, standing motionless by the tree line. Police dismissed it. No corroborating evidence, no other witnesses. But 2 years later, another hiker came forward. Same spot. Same description. He was just staring, she said. Like he was waiting for someone. Coincidence? Or a phantom haunting the edges of this case? But the questions don't stop there. Why did Hannah's Spotify account play her night drive playlist at 8:47 p.m. after she left the gas station? If her phone was already heading into a dead zone, was someone else logged in? Or did the app glitch, warping the timeline? Why did her car's odometer show 17 extra miles, enough to drive to the forest and back twice, but leave no trace of where those miles went? And why, in the days before she vanished, did Hannah Google search how to disappear and best states to start over? A nurse planning a vacation, or a woman plotting an escape? The truth is, every answer spawns 3 new questions. Take the burner account at eyes_open_912. Police traced the VPN to Sweden. Dead end. But in 2021, a tech expert discovered the account's creation IP matched a cafe 10 miles from Hannah's apartment. A cafe with no security cameras. A cafe her boyfriend, Mark, frequented. Coincidence? Or a breadcrumb? Or the deleted Instagram story, the one posted the morning she vanished. A photo of her coffee cup. Last shift before vacation. It vanished at 10:04 p.m. after her phone died. Who deleted it? A hacker? Or someone sitting right beside her? Even the rain that night feels like a character in this story. A storm that erased evidence, or created the perfect alibi. But here's the darkest question of all. What if the truth is hiding in plain sight? What if Hannah's case isn't complicated? What if it's simple? A crime so obvious, so ordinary, that we've stared past it for years. A jealous lover. A chance encounter. A wrong turn. The kind of tragedy that happens every day, until it happens to someone you love. 5 years later, the questions aren't just unanswered, they're multiplying. And with each passing day, the answers grow heavier. The Collins family deserves closure. The public deserves the truth. And Hannah? She deserves more than to be a riddle. So we ask again, where is she? What happened in those 12 miles between the gas station and the forest? And who's been hiding in the shadows, smiling at our confusion? The truth is out there, buried in lies, lost in the noise, or maybe screaming at us from the start. All we have to do is listen. In movies, mysteries get solved. Credits roll. Families reunite. But real life doesn't have curtains. Real life leaves wounds that never scar. Hannah Collins isn't a plot twist. She isn't a case. She's a daughter, a friend, a woman who loved the smell of rain and hated folding laundry. A person who existed, who still exists, somewhere between the shadows and the light. If you take one thing from this story, let it be this. Hannah is not gone. She's suspended, trapped in the limbo of what if. And her family? They're trapped there with her. Linda still texts Hannah's number every morning. "Good morning, baby. Coffee's ready." Jess still sets an extra plate at Thanksgiving, just in case. Milo still cocks his head at the sound of car engines, waiting for hers. This isn't grief. It's purgatory. But here's where you come in. Maybe you're watching this in another state, another country. Maybe you've never heard of Holloway Forest. But what if you know something? A detail too small to matter. A rumor you brushed off. A face you saw once, lingering too long in a gas station. A co-worker who vanished around October 2018. A confession whispered drunk. A lie that never added up. Tell someone. Tell the police. Tell a tip line. Tell Hannah's mother, who still picks up the phone on the first ring. Because here's the truth. Cases don't go cold when leads run out. They go cold when people stop caring. When the noise of the world drowns out one family's scream. We're not asking for theories. We're asking for truth. Did you drive through Holloway Forest that night? Did you see a blue Honda Civic parked oddly? A figure in the trees? A flicker of headlights where there shouldn't be any? Did you send those cryptic DMs? Do you know who did? Are you hiding a secret? A guilt that gnaws at you in the dark? It's not too late. 5 years ago, someone made Hannah Collins disappear. But they didn't erase her. Not yet. So this is a promise to Hannah, to her family, to every person who's ever vanished into the void. We won't stop digging. We won't stop shouting her name into the silence. We'll chase every glitch in the timeline, every shadow in the data, every lie that unravels. And to the person out there who knows what happened, sleep tight. Because the world is smaller than you think. Secrets rot. And the truth? It doesn't stay buried. Hannah's story doesn't end here. Not while her sketches gather dust. Not while her mother stares at an empty road. Not while a single question remains. What happened to Hannah Collins? If you know, speak. And if you don't, keep asking. Keep sharing. Keep her name alive. Because somewhere in the static between justice and oblivion, Hannah is waiting. This isn't goodbye. It's a reckoning.